Chosen one. Listen carefully. Heaven has stopped for you. The noise of the world is silenced. The scrolls of time have paused, because your name is echoing through eternity. This is not coincidence. This is divine appointment. You have been drawn here because the heavens have something to reveal. They're about to see who you really are, God's child. You've felt the tremors in your spirit lately, haven't you? That strange stirring, that unexplainable pull to step forward. Even when everything around you tells you to stay silent, the resistance you've been facing is not random, it's confirmation. Every storm, every delay, every betrayal has been orchestrated to refine you, not define you. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, to carry the fragrance of heaven in a world that has forgotten what holiness smells like. Beloved, there is a reason the attacks intensified right before this moment. Hell fights hardest when heaven is about to reveal what it's been building. You have walked through the fire and didn't burn. You have faced rejection and didn't break. You have cried in silence, but didn't give up. And now, heaven whispers your name and says, "Arise, for it is your unveiling season." They thought you were finished. They thought you were ordinary. They thought you were just another voice in the crowd. But what they didn't know is that while you were being overlooked by men, you were being observed by angels. Heaven has been preparing your platform in silence. And now, every unseen moment is about to make sense. As the prophet Isaiah once wrote in the ancient scrolls of chapter 40, verse 31, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not faint." These words are not poetic, they are prophetic. They are the breath of God for your exact moment in time. You are about to soar above everything that tried to keep you grounded. Look at your life, look at the scars. Every mark is a testimony. Every delay, a disguised training. God was not ignoring you, He was igniting you. He hid you so your enemies wouldn't see you until you were too anointed to be stopped. And now, He says, "Show them who my child truly is." The time for hiding has ended. The season of unveiling has begun. Beloved, this is not just another day, it's a turning point. The world will soon witness that you carry something no one can replicate. The peace you walk in will confuse those who tried to wound you. The confidence you display will silence the mockers. For the same God who anointed David in the field is anointing you now in the unseen. Do you feel that? That pressure on your chest, that trembling in your hands? It's not fear. It's destiny waking up inside you. Heaven is saying, "Rise." The earth is waiting for the revealing of God's children. You are that revelation. You are not here to fit the mold. You are here to break it. So take a breath. Chosen one, this is your moment to declare it. You are God's child. You are no longer waiting for validation from people who were never meant to understand your calling. The world is about to see the difference between being liked by men and being chosen by God. And now, as you feel this message resonate in your spirit, I'm asking you if this word spoke directly to your heart. If you know, heaven paused this moment for you. Don't just scroll past it. Like, share, and subscribe right now. Not because of vanity, but because your obedience spreads light into the algorithm of darkness. Your action becomes a prophetic act. When you comment, when you share, you are saying, "I align with heaven's call." This is more than a video, It's a movement of destiny. Every time a chosen one rises, chains break across generations. And you, yes, you, are the proof that God still anoints in secret before he reveals in power. So lift your head, straighten your crown. Heaven has chosen you. The unveiling has begun. And the world will never be the same after they see what God has hidden in you. Comment below the number 777 as a prophetic sign that you receive this word, that completion and divine revealing are now active in your life. You remember the season, don't you? Chosen one, the time when everything seemed silent, heaven felt far away, and people's words cut deeper than any sword. You were misunderstood, not because you were wrong, but because you were different. They couldn't comprehend the language of someone carrying heaven's purpose. You spoke faith while they spoke fear. You saw destiny where they saw impossibility. That isolation you felt was never punishment, it was preparation. God hid you in plain sight. While others were rushing to be seen, he was teaching you how to be still. He was building a strength in you that no platform could create and no person could take away. You mistook his silence for absence. But all along, he was speaking in whispers too sacred for noise. They judged you because you walked differently, because you didn't fit their pattern. But you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to redefine. The misunderstandings were not random. They were divine. Heaven allowed certain people to walk away so that your calling wouldn't be contaminated by the opinions of the crowd. You thought you lost friends, but you gained clarity. You thought you were being excluded, but you were being extracted from places that couldn't contain your next season. The rejection you faced wasn't rejection at all. It was redirection. God was shifting you from the visible to the valuable. Every time they ignored you, heaven took notes. Every time they spoke against you, heaven prepared a new table. What they called irrelevant, hot called in development. The people who didn't see your worth were never supposed to, because their validation would have diluted your divine identity. There were nights when you questioned everything: your calling, your worth, even your place in God's plan. You thought, if I'm chosen, why does it feel like I'm forgotten? But that is the mystery of being chosen. God sometimes conceals his chosen ones until the right moment, because revelation before maturity can destroy destiny. He was not punishing you, he was protecting you. You are not late. Chosen one. You are right on divine schedule. The silence was his classroom. The loneliness was his training ground. The misunderstanding was his molding process. Every no you received from people became a yes in heaven's timeline. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans for hope and future. Those words were not written for the favored, they were written for the forgotten. For those who sat in exile, wondering if God still remembered their name. And just like them, your exile is ending. When you were hidden, God was building endurance. When you were misunderstood, he was refining your discernment. You were learning to hear his voice above all others. And now, because of that season, your ears are tuned to heaven's frequency. You no longer depend on applause to know your worth. You no longer need validation to feel valuable. You have learned that silence is not absence, it is strategy. And through that sacred silence, heaven was sharpening your spirit for revelation. The quiet became your sanctuary. The stillness, your teacher. You discovered that purpose does not shout, it whispers. Every delay deepened your roots. Every pause prepared your power. Now, what was once hidden within you is ready to roar. One day soon, those who misunderstood you will understand. Those who mocked your stillness will witness your acceleration. You will not need to explain yourself, because your transformation will speak louder than words. The same people who called you delusional will call you blessed. Hold this truth close. Being misunderstood by man is often the evidence of being understood by God. Your difference is not a flaw, it is a divine fingerprint. You are not behind. You are being revealed in perfect timing. What looked like delay was actually precision. You are entering a season where what once confused others will now confound them with glory. God is flipping the script. He's turning the misunderstood into the manifested. The silence that once felt unbearable will now echo with purpose. Every unanswered question will soon make sense. You were never hidden to be forgotten. You were hidden to be revealed in fullness. So breathe. Chosen one. The same God who allowed misunderstanding will now bring divine recognition. The world will see what heaven always knew, that you are not ordinary, and you were never overlooked. You were preserved for such a time as this. Chosen one. There are weights you have carried that no one knows about. The silent battles, the unseen tears, the nights when you wanted to disappear but still showed up for life anyway. You have smiled through storms that would have broken others. You've carried pain with grace, and the world never saw the cost. Heaven did. Every sigh you released was heard in heaven's courts. Every prayer you whispered when no one was around was recorded in eternity's book. You thought you were walking alone, but angels surrounded you in every shadow. The strength you displayed wasn't ordinary, it was divine. There's a reason your spirit has been heavy. It's because you've been carrying not just your own battles, but the weight of generations. The chains that tried to bind your bloodline have been trembling because of you. God trusted you with the kind of pressure that reveals warriors. You've been crying not because you're weak, but because you're being pressed into purpose. The oil of anointing only flows when the olive is crushed. That's what the pain was pressing. The moments when you thought you would collapse were moments heaven was distilling power from your perseverance. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And chosen one, your morning is near. The night was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to purify your faith, to prove your endurance, and to release a joy that cannot be stolen. There were times when you questioned why God let you carry so much, while others seemed to walk freely. But it's because your assignment required weight. You can't carry glory lightly. Every burden trained your spirit to host heaven's power with stability. The greater the calling, the heavier the preparation. Others saw your tears as weakness, but God saw them as water for your harvest. Every drop that fell from your eyes was a seed, and the season of reaping is approaching. You've prayed, God, when will it make sense? And heaven answers now. It already does. You just couldn't see the full picture yet. The weight you carried was never meant to crush you. It was meant to crown you. You are not collapsing. You are becoming. You've learned what few ever understand, that pain can be prophetic. What was meant to bury you, instead birthed you. The enemy underestimated the strength of someone who refuses to quit. Chosen one. Look back for a moment, not in regret, But in revelation, remember the moments you almost gave up. You're still here. That alone is proof of divine preservation. Every time life tried to silence you, heaven spoke louder. Every time darkness whispered, "You're done," the light inside you whispered, "Not yet." No. Now, you are stronger than you've ever been. You've developed a resilience that frightens the enemy. The fire you walked through didn't just test you, it purified you. You came out refined, not ruined. And soon, the very people who pitied your struggle will marvel at your strength. When the world sees you rising, they won't understand how you survived, but you will know it was God. Always God. The unseen hand that held you when no one else did. The still small voice that told you to get up one more time. You didn't survive by luck, you survived by destiny. And now heaven says, release the weight. The season of carrying alone has ended. You've proven your endurance. And the reward is transformation. The burden becomes a blessing. What once broke, you will now build others. You will speak, and hearts will heal. You will walk, and atmospheres will shift. The power that once felt distant now dwells in you. You've been refined enough to carry revelation without pride and to handle honor without corruption. You've learned humility through heartbreak. And now, glory will not destroy you. It will reveal you. So pause. Take a deep breath and let this truth settle in your soul. You have nothing left to prove. The one who called you has already approved you. Every wound has a purpose. Every scar is a sign of survival. You carry stories that will free others from chains they don't even see yet. And right here, in this sacred moment, I want you to anchor this truth in your spirit. Go to the comments and simply write, "I rise." All. Type those two words not as a phrase, but as a prophetic act. Because when you write them, heaven sees your agreement. It is your declaration that the weight is broken, that the crushing season has produced clarity, that the night has served its purpose. When you comment, "I rise," you are declaring to both heaven and hell that you will not stay where pain left you. You are stepping into resurrection power. This is not the end of your story, it's the unveiling of your strength. The world is about to witness what perseverance looks like when it's fueled by divine fire. You've carried much, but now you will carry glory. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven decides to draw a line between what is true and what only pretends to be. You are stepping into that moment now. The exposure is beginning. What was once hidden in shadows is being forced into the light, and you stand as the vessel through which truth will shine. You may not realize it yet, but the purity of your spirit is dangerous to falsehood. When you walk into a room, everything that isn't aligned with heaven starts to tremble. Darkness cannot coexist with divine authenticity. That's why lately you've felt resistance, because your very presence is revelation. The time for imitation is over. God is raising up those who have been refined, not merely rehearsed. You have been in the furnace long enough. And now the fire in you is not for destruction but discernment. You can sense when words are empty, when smiles are masks, when praise hides motives. This is not suspicion, it's spiritual sight. Many have worn crowns that were never given by God. Many have claimed light while walking in shadows. But the veil is tearing. Heaven is cleansing the stage. And you, chosen one, are part of that cleansing wave. You don't need to expose anyone with your voice. Your anointing will expose them by existing. The counterfeit cannot survive beside the consecrated. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy. Chapter 32, verse 4. He is the rock. His works are perfect, and all his ways are just, a faithful God who does no wrong. Upright and just is he. These words echo through eternity to remind you that God's justice is never delayed. It's deliberate. What he exposes, he does so in perfect timing. You have been wondering why certain people, once close to you, are suddenly being removed. It's not betrayal, it's alignment. God is cleaning your atmosphere because your next level requires purity of connection. Not everyone can go where you're going. Some were assignments for a season, not companions for a lifetime. Do not grieve what God is pruning. Every separation is sacred. You are being positioned to walk in a realm where false light cannot imitate your glow. What is real in you will now be revealed in power. The purity of your heart is your passport to new dimensions of authority. There will be moments when this exposure looks painful, when truth reveals who was never truly for you. But even that is mercy. The Lord exposes what he intends to heal. You might lose people, but you will gain clarity. And clarity is a higher blessing than company. This unveiling is not about revenge, it's about revelation. God does not expose to embarrass, he exposes to restore order. You are his instrument in this divine realignment. You've been asking for confirmation, and this is it. You are stepping into a season of holy discernment, where lies cannot linger and false motives crumble under your light. Do you remember how long you prayed for discernment? How you asked God to show you truth, even when it hurt? This is the answer to that prayer. Truth has a cost. It isolates you before it elevates you. But take heart, chosen one. For isolation is simply heaven's way of teaching you how to stand without depending on applause. Every test you've endured has sharpened your eyes. You now see with heaven's clarity. The same things that used to confuse you will now appear obvious. You will not be fooled by titles, by charm, or be counterfeit keenness. You will know who carries oil and who merely carries noise. And in this purification, your own heart is being examined too. Exposure begins within. God has been pruning not just your surroundings, but your spirit. He's been pulling out the last traces of pride, fear, and doubt, so that nothing in you aligns with deception. You are being refined into transparency. Soon, people will look at you and sense something different. They won't understand it, but they'll feel it, the weight of truth. You won't need to prove yourself. Your purity will speak for you. The favor on your life will become undeniable evidence that authenticity still has power in a world addicted to performance. Do not fear this exposure. Let truth do its work. The ones meant to stand beside you will remain. The ones who were never rooted will drift away. And you, purified and unshaken, will walk forward, carrying the kind of peace that only comes when nothing false remains. The time for pretending is over. The masks are falling. The stage lights are shifting. And heaven's spotlight rests on the real. You, chosen one, are not here to compete. You are here to complete heaven's narrative. What's authentic in you is about to draw heaven's attention and earth's recognition. Remember this: exposure is not rejection, it's revelation. What falls away was never meant to stay. What remains is eternal. And when the dust settles, only truth will be standing, and truth has your name written all over it. Chosen one, heaven is calling your name publicly now. The season of silence is ending. The curtain that once hid you is being pulled back, not for vanity's sake, but for testimony's sake. For years, you were faithful in the background, sowing seeds where no one saw. You prayed when no one clapped. You served when no one thanked you. You remained when others walked away. And now, heaven is preparing to honor what the world ignored. This is that sacred moment when obedience becomes visibility. God is about to let the very soil that once buried you bring forth fruit. The same ground that held your tears will now hold your triumph. You're not just being seen, you're being revealed. The light on your life isn't artificial, it's the reflection of heaven itself. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." These are not empty words. They are the divine law of perseverance. Every act of faith, every small kindness, every quiet yes to God has been collecting interest in heaven's account. Now, the return begins. Still, hear this truth with humility. Visibility comes with responsibility. When God places His light upon you, He doesn't do it so that you might shine alone. He does it so others may find their way home through the reflection in your eyes. You are not the source, you are the lamp. And a lamp only glows when connected to power. Stay connected to Him, and your glow will never fade. Many will now see what God placed in you long ago. Some will celebrate, others will question. But you don't need to defend what God has decided. Those who doubted your authenticity will have to confront undeniable evidence of His favor on your life. And you humble, steady, radiant will simply keep walking in obedience. Picture this: a lighthouse standing tall in the storm. It does not chase ships, it simply shines. And by shining, it saves lives. That is you, chosen one. Your task is not to prove your light, but to remain steadfast through every wave. The ocean cannot drown what heaven has established on solid rock. As your voice reaches further, remember the days when you spoke into silence. Remember how God turned your whispers into waves. Every share, every listener, every comment is a soul being touched through your obedience. You are not building fame, you are building faith. You are not chasing numbers, you are nurturing souls. So if this message has become part of your spiritual rhythm, if it has reminded you of who you are and who walks with you, I invite you gently, sincerely to help keep this light burning. Like this message, not for attention, but as an act of agreement, a sign that you stand with heaven's call. Share it so that someone lost in confusion might find direction through your courage. And if you feel led to subscribe, do it as a statement that you are choosing consistency in growth, that you are part of this divine movement of awakening. You are saying, I will not let the flame die in isolation. Your subscription is not just digital, it's spiritual alignment. Some of you will even feel prompted to donate. And if that stirring arises in your heart, understand it's not about money, it's about mission. Every seed sown here becomes oil for the lamps of others. You are helping light reach hearts you may never meet. Voices that will whisper, thank you, in eternity. Think of it as adding fuel to a collective fire, one that warms, heals, and guides countless souls home. This isn't manipulation, It's multiplication. When you give, whether it's attention, prayer, or resource, you participate in something eternal. You join hands with heaven in ensuring that messages of purpose and identity keep breaking through the noise. Beloved, your obedience has always been your offering. Your yes to God has always been your seed. But when you add action to faith, you create impact beyond sight. The ripple from your gesture may reach a soul drowning in despair, reminding them that light still exists. That is how heaven measures generosity, not by the size of the gift, but by the sincerity of the heart. And as you walk into this new visibility, never forget, the spotlight of heaven does not blind, it reveals. The glory of God shining on your life will not corrupt you if your heart remains anchored in humility. Keep your eyes on the one who lifted you. Let gratitude be your crown. This is your unveiling. Chosen one, you have endured the shadows long enough. Now, the world will see not just your strength, but His faithfulness reflected in you. Keep shining. Keep serving. Keep sowing, and let heaven write your story in light. They laughed, didn't they? Chosen one, they mocked your faith, doubted your promise, rolled their eyes when you said, God spoke to me. They called you unrealistic, too spiritual, too intense. Yet deep within, you knew something they didn't. You were carrying a prophecy that couldn't die. Even in ridicule, heaven never forgets mockery done against His children. Every time they laughed at your obedience, the sound echoed through the courts of heaven, and God whispered, wait and see. You stood firm when it was easier to stay silent. You held on to faith when logic screamed otherwise. What they thought was foolishness was actually foresight. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 11, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. These words weren't written for comfort, they were written for warriors like you. Heaven counts every insult as an investment in your future glory. What they didn't realize is that God often hides His greatest victories inside ridicule. Noah was laughed at until the rain came. Joseph was mocked until the palace door opened. David was underestimated until the crown found his head. And you, yes, you are walking the same divine pattern. The laughter that once surrounded you will soon turn into awe. There's a sound in the spirit, a holy reversal taking place. The same mouths that spoke against you will have to testify for you. Heaven is rearranging reputations. Your name, once whispered in mockery, will be spoken in reverence. Not because you sought revenge, but because you remained silent while heaven fought for you. You see, there's something sacred about silence. You didn't retaliate. You didn't defend yourself. You trusted God to vindicate you. And He took note of that. He's been preparing a moment. One divine, Shane, in time, where He will reveal what He's been building inside you all along. Soon, those who mocked your process will witness your promise. They will watch as heaven unfolds your destiny in front of them, piece by piece. And the same mouths that said, "You'll never rise," will whisper, "How did they survive?" Your success won't come from spite, but from surrender. You didn't fight for revenge. You fought to remain pure. That's why your elevation will carry peace, not pride. Beloved, the laughter you endured was heaven's cue to start the performance. God loves to write stories that confound the proud. When He moves, He doesn't just bless you, He teaches others through you. Your story becomes a sermon. Your victory becomes a parable. You may not see it yet, but vindication is already in motion. Heaven's gavel has struck. The evidence of your faithfulness has reached the throne. Every tear, every lonely night, every time you chose love over bitterness, it all became divine evidence. And heaven has ruled in your favor. Those who laughed at your obedience will now watch as God decorates you with favor. But remember, this isn't a time for arrogance. When the applause begins, keep your eyes on the one who carried you through mockery. Don't let their admiration distract you from your mission. The crown comes not to glorify you, but to confirm Him. You are not rising to prove them wrong, you are rising to prove God right. Your elevation is the echo of His faithfulness, the visible sign that heaven's word never returns void. The laughter you once endured is about to be replaced with stunned silence. God is going to do it so openly, so undeniably, that even the skeptics will have to say, "Surely, the hand of the Lord was upon them." And in that moment, when heaven's vindication becomes visible, don't hide your light. Stand tall. Chosen one, let them see what grace looks like. Let them feel the warmth of someone who forgave before they were honored. Because your mercy will speak louder than your miracle. Now pause and breathe. Feel that quiet confidence rising within your spirit. The shaking is not fear, it's glory. You are walking into the chapter where mockery turns to marvel. The story is flipping in real time, and your obedience has triggered it. So if you can sense this word burning in your spirit, if you know heaven is speaking directly to your situation, make a declaration right now. Go to the comments and write the prophetic number 444. That number isn't random, it's a symbol of divine structure, stability, and foundation. It means that what God builds in this next season cannot be shaken. When you comment 444, you're saying, "Lord, I trust you to turn every laugh into light, every insult into increase, every pain into purpose." It is your prophetic agreement with heaven's justice. You were hidden, not forgotten. The silence you walked through wasn't neglect, it was protection. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every delay that made your heart ache had purpose written all over it. Heaven was not ignoring you. Chosen one, heaven was hiding you for the appointed time. When a seed is placed into the ground, it disappears from sight. It seems lifeless, buried, gone. But in that dark soil, something sacred begins a quiet transformation that no eye can see. That's what happened to you. You were buried, not to die, but to grow. The darkness around you was never meant to end you. It was meant to deepen your roots. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." This verse has been your silent companion through confusion, hasn't it? You couldn't make sense of the silence, but still, you trusted, and that trust became the seedbed of your strength. There were moments when you looked around and wondered why others were being celebrated while you were being concealed. You saw people run ahead while you stayed behind. You questioned if you had missed your timing. But the truth is, God was keeping you from premature exposure. What blooms too early often wilts before its time. You were in the hidden workshop of heaven. Every hardship was a hammer shaping your foundation. Every lonely season was a chiseling away of pride and fear. God was crafting in you something durable, an identity that doesn't crumble under pressure. He was building silence into strength, delay into depth. Hidden seasons are sacred. They protect what's still forming. The womb of obscurity is where miracles develop. If God had revealed you earlier, you might have mistaken the applause of men for the approval of heaven. But now, because of what you've endured, you can discern the difference. You learn to hear God's whisper without needing a crowd's noise. You learn to walk by faith when visibility failed. You learn to pray, not for speed, but for substance. That's why, when the revealing comes, you'll remain grounded. You won't be intoxicated by attention. You'll be anchored in purpose. Think of Moses in the wilderness, Joseph in the prison, or David in the caves, all hidden, all called, all seemingly forgotten. Yet in their hiding, God was refining their hearts for royalty. They were being trained to rule not with arrogance, but with humility. You have walked that same road. What felt like delay was actually divine development. Every time you felt forgotten, heaven was rewriting your name into eternal memory. You are not one of the overlooked. You are one of the preserved. The Lord has been quietly weaving connections, aligning opportunities, and preparing hearts that will recognize your voice when you step forward. There's a reason you've felt a quiet stirring lately, a sense that something invisible is shifting around you. It's because the season of hiddenness is reaching completion. You have been tested, refined, and prepared. Heaven doesn't hide forever. It hides until you are ready. You will notice the change, not through grand announcements, but through small divine appointments, doors that open without explanation, people who suddenly see your value, favor that flows where resistance once stood. These are signs that your unveiling is near. Still, remain humble in the transition. Don't rush to reveal what God is still polishing. The greatest treasures of heaven are unveiled in perfect timing, not human timing. Your readiness is more important than recognition. You see, being hidden was never about delay. It was about direction. God wasn't saying, "Not yet," to punish you. He was saying, "Not yet," to protect the purity of what He planted in you. And when He reveals you, it won't just be for your elevation, it will be for the transformation of others. Your story will serve as proof that patience is never wasted when it's rooted in faith. You have been the seed in the soil, the voice in the silence, the prayer in the night. But now, the horizon begins to glow faintly. Dawn is near. The same God who hid you will now reveal you in such a way that no man can claim credit. Hold your peace and keep your posture. Your hidden season was holy ground. Every unseen moment mattered. Every quiet tear watered your destiny. You were not forgotten for a single second. Heaven saw. Heaven recorded. And heaven is now ready to release. The mantle is awakening. Chosen one. What once felt dormant within you is beginning to stir. You can feel it in your chest, a quiet fire rising, a weight of purpose pressing gently against your heart. It's not anxiety, it's activation. Heaven is calling you into motion. You are no longer the hidden seed, you are the sprouting branch reaching toward light. This awakening isn't random. It's the appointed hour. The divine mantle placed upon your life before you were born is now shaking off the dust of delay. What you have survived has prepared you to carry what others couldn't. The trials didn't break you, they unlocked you. Every scar has become a seal of authenticity, proof that the oil you carry was pressed through pain, not borrowed through pretense. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 28, "And it shall come to pass afterward, that I will pour out my Spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions." This is not a distant prophecy. This is your present reality. The outpouring has begun within you. You are part of heaven's fulfillment. You felt it, the sudden clarity, the unusual boldness, the divine restlessness that keeps whispering, "You were made for more." That's the mantle speaking. It's calling you to stand up, to speak with conviction, to walk in authority without apology. You are not stepping into arrogance, you are stepping into alignment. For too long, you've questioned whether you're ready. But readiness in heaven's language isn't perfection, it's willingness. God doesn't wait for you to feel capable, He waits for you to say, yes. The moment you agree with His call, strength begins to rise where fear once lived. The mantle is not glamorous, it's weighty. It demands sacrifice. To carry it means to love when others hate, to forgive when it's unfair, to keep walking when the road narrows. It's the price of divine purpose. But oh, the glory that follows obedience. The mantle may feel heavy, but it also carries heaven's wind. Every step you take in surrender will be carried by grace. Think of Elijah passing his mantle to Elisha. It wasn't a casual exchange, it was the transfer of legacy, the awakening of assignment. When the cloak touched Elisha, everything ordinary in him was replaced with extraordinary purpose. That same spiritual principle is unfolding in your life. The invisible hand of God is draping divine responsibility over your shoulders. It might not look like much right now. Perhaps it's a small platform, a quiet influence, a few people who listen when you speak. But remember, every great calling begins in small circles. The mantle doesn't need a crowd to operate. It needs conviction. When you move in obedience, even in secret, heaven echoes with your steps. You may feel unqualified, but that's precisely why you were chosen. God delights in using those who have nothing to prove and everything to give. The mantle finds rest only on surrendered shoulders. You have been emptied so that you can now be filled without measure. This awakening also comes with discernment. You will begin to recognize divine moments disguised as ordinary encounters. People will cross your path who need the exact wisdom that lives in your story. Your words will begin to carry weight. Your silence will begin to shift atmospheres. The mantle gives you authority to change environments simply by being present. Do not fear the responsibility. God will never place a mantle heavier than your capacity to carry it. And if you ever feel its weight pressing too hard, remember it's not meant for you to carry alone. The same Spirit that called you will sustain you. You are not doing this for God. You are doing it with God. There will be times when the mantle feels invisible, when you doubt its presence. But understand this, the mantle is not about feelings, it's about faith. Even when you don't sense it, it's active. Every act of kindness, every word spoken in truth, every decision rooted in integrity strengthens its hold upon your life. The awakening of your mantle also means new authority in prayer. Your words will begin to echo differently in heaven. What once felt like whispered petitions will now carry the force of decrees. You will pray, and things will move. You will speak, and mountains will respond. Because the mantle is not a decoration, it's a key. It unlocks realms that were previously sealed. Chosen one. Stand tall. The mantle is yours, not because you earned it, but because heaven ordained it. It has waited patiently through your pain, through your silence, through your confusion, and now it rests upon you, calling you to rise. You are no longer in preparation, you are in manifestation. The mantle has awakened, and so have you. The world will soon witness what heaven already knows, that the fire within you was never meant to flicker quietly, but to blaze openly for the glory of God. There is a shift happening right now. Chosen one. You can feel it in the unseen, like the air before a storm. Charged with power, yet pregnant with peace. Heaven is aligning things around you. Everything that once resisted you is now beginning to recognize you. The mantle you carry has begun to activate the atmosphere. The days of being silenced are over. Now, your very presence will speak. You won't have to prove your worth. Heaven will echo it for you. The divine frequency of your calling is starting to vibrate through the spiritual realm, and it is awakening dormant things, dreams, gifts, and promises you thought had died. They are not gone. They are responding to your anointing. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, the Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 7, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." You, chosen one, are that vessel, fragile on the outside, eternal on the inside. What you carry is not ordinary. It is divine fire hidden in human form. That's why your battles have been so fierce. The enemy wasn't fighting your position, he was fighting your potential. He saw what you carried long before you did. That's why you faced sudden storms after moments of peace. Every attack was a clue that you're carrying something that terrifies darkness. But hear this clearly. No power of hell can silence what heaven has activated. You have crossed the threshold where fear loses its grip. You've endured the breaking, the burning, and the bending. But you were never broken beyond repair. The treasure inside you was only refined, never removed. Now the Lord says, "Speak." The power that once trembled in your chest is meant to be released. Your voice carries deliverance, not just for you, but for others chained by the same pain you overcame. When you speak, things shift not because of your eloquence, but because of your obedience. The treasure within you releases heaven's frequency. Your presence carries weight. When you walk into a place, peace follows. When you speak, confusion begins to scatter. You don't have to announce your anointing. It announces itself. The fire that once seemed quiet inside you is now roaring. And every environment you enter must respond to that roar. This is your moment to stop doubting what you carry. You are not an accident. You are an answer. You are heaven's response to a problem on earth. And even when you feel unqualified, God smiles, because He knows you were never chosen for perfection, you were chosen for purpose. Sometimes, you'll feel the weight of the calling pressing heavily on your shoulders. You'll wonder if you're capable. But remember, the treasure isn't dependent on your strength. It's sustained by His. You are the clay jar. Yes, but inside you is heaven's glory. Even your cracks have become conduits of light. Everything you've endured has made you the exact vessel required for this hour. The pain gave you compassion, the loss gave you depth, The silence gave you sensitivity. Now, all that you've gathered in secret is about to overflow into sight. The world is starving for authenticity, and God is sending you as the feast. Don't hide your light anymore. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. You weren't made to blend in, you were born to stand out. And when you finally step fully into who you are, the earth will sigh in relief, because creation has been waiting for your yes. Oh, this isn't just motivation, it's revelation. You are the evidence that God still entrusts glory to ordinary vessels. You don't have to chase platforms. Platforms will chase your presence. What you carry attracts divine alignment. And right here, in this very moment, I want you to take a breath and acknowledge it. Heaven isn't waiting for another confirmation. It's waiting for your agreement. Go to the comments and write these simple words: I'm ready. End quote. When you type those 2 words, you are not just commenting, you are declaring alignment. You are telling heaven, I accept the mantle. I accept the mission. I accept the movement. Those words are a signature on your spiritual contract. A prophetic yes that resounds beyond this moment. Say it not from fear, but from faith. Because when you declare, I'm ready, the gates begin to open. Favor starts to follow function. The angels assigned to your calling begin to move into position. It's not just symbolic, it's supernatural. Chosen one. The treasure inside you is calling to be revealed. The world is waiting for your light, and heaven is whispering, now, ousing. The tables are turning. Chosen one. What once stood against you is now beginning to bend in your favor. You can sense it, the atmosphere around you shifting. The winds of resistance becoming winds of restoration. The very forces that tried to break you are now being repurposed to build you. Heaven is reversing the script. For a long time, you've been sitting in silence, watching others pass you by, wondering when your moment would come. But God has not forgotten your faithfulness. Every unseen act of kindness, every prayer whispered through tears, every moment you stayed faithful. When quitting seemed easier, He saw it all. And now, heaven whispers, it's your turn. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 75, verse 7. But it is God who judges. He brings one down. He exalts another. This verse isn't a threat, it's a promise. The tables are not just turning for you, they are being set. The feast of vindication is being prepared in plain sight. You are entering the divine exchange zone. Everything that was lost is being restored with interest. The pain that once humbled you will now be the platform that honors you. The delay that once discouraged you is transforming into the display of God's perfect timing. The scales are rebalancing, and heaven's justice is being poured out like golden oil. Think of how a potter spins the wheel. The clay is pressed, pulled, and reshaped. It seems chaotic to the clay, but to the potter, it's choreography. That's what your life has been, divine choreography. Every turn, every spin, every squeeze was heaven forming you into a vessel fit for glory. The hands that pressed you were never meant to destroy you, they were crafting you. Now, when people see what you've become, they will realize that every pain had purpose. You will no longer have to explain why things took so long. The outcome will speak for itself. Vindication doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives with undeniable fruit. And yet, as your season shifts, Remember, humility. When the spotlight turns your way, stay anchored in gratitude. You are not rising alone, you are rising to lift others. The same way a lighthouse stands unmoved by the waves. You must remain steady amid the applause. Shine. But do not forget the dark nights that taught you to glow. If this word touches something deep inside you, if it mirrors your hidden seasons and reignites your hope, then take a moment to breathe it in and let gratitude overflow. Like this message as a quiet Amen, a sign that you recognize God's fingerprints in your story. Share it so that someone else in a storm might see that the tide does indeed turn. Your share might become the lifeline someone silently prayed for. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not for the sake of numbers, but as an act of commitment to keep walking this journey of revelation together. Each new message is another layer of strength, another spark for your spirit. By subscribing, you're saying, I'm growing. I'm staying connected to the voice that reminds me of my purpose. No, for those who feel a deeper tug, a stirring beyond words, if you feel led to donate, do it from a place of joy, not pressure. Giving is never about losing. It's about sowing into ground that's proven fruitful. Every seed you plant here becomes nourishment for countless souls across nations. You are helping light reach hearts hidden in shadow, helping someone rediscover hope when they've forgotten how to believe. Think of it like a garden. Each act of support, whether a like, a share, a comment, or a donation, is a seed planted into sacred soil. Over time, those seeds bloom into testimonies. Someone's midnight moment turns into a dawn because of your quiet generosity. That's how heaven multiplies impact, not through noise, but through obedience. You're not giving to a platform, you're partnering with a purpose. You're saying, let this message keep shining, even where I cannot go. Every seed sown becomes another candle in the hands of grace. Together, we keep the flame alive. Chosen one. The tables are turning. But the story isn't ending, it's just beginning. Where once there was mourning, there will be dancing. Where there was loss, there will be laughter. The same people who doubted your survival will soon marvel at your revival. The scales of destiny are shifting, and the balance now tips toward your favor. So walk forward gently, carrying gratitude in your heart and fire in your spirit. The divine exchange is underway. The potter hasn't just finished shaping you, he's about to display you. Chosen one. The time has come to break every limitation that has hovered over your life. You have carried invisible chains, some forged by fear, some handed down through generations, others crafted by your own doubt. But now, the Spirit of God declares a new decree. The limits are broken. The ceilings that once confined you are being shattered by divine force. For too long, you measured yourself by what you saw around you. You believed you couldn't rise higher because no one before you did. But heaven says otherwise. You were never meant to repeat the story, you were meant to rewrite it. The barriers in your life are not boundaries of destiny, they are invitations to break through. Heaven speaks through the writings of the prophet Isaiah. Chapter 54, verse 2. Enlarge the place of your tent. Stretch your tent curtains wide. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords. Strengthen your stakes. These words are more than instruction, they are command. God is expanding your capacity. What used to fit you will soon feel too small, because growth always demands new ground. Every limitation begins in the mind. The enemy doesn't have to destroy your destiny if he can convince you it's unreachable, but those lies are losing power. You are waking up to the truth of who you are, a child of infinite possibility, an heir to eternal strength. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. What can limit resurrection power? Nothing. You've spent seasons building walls to protect yourself from pain, but those walls also kept out promise. Now, heaven is dismantling them brick by brick. The pain you feared will no longer paralyze you. The rejection that once silenced you will now propel you. Every limit you placed for safety is being replaced by divine stretching. You are entering the season of more. More faith, more vision, more courage, more provision. It won't happen by striving, it will happen by surrender. Growth is not about trying harder, it's about trusting deeper. The same God who held you in the valley will guide you on the mountaintop. Your limits were never God's idea. They were built by the world's noise. But now, His voice is calling louder than your fear. Look around at the things you once considered impossible. Do you feel how they no longer intimidate you the same way? That's because the cage has already cracked. The spiritual space around you is expanding. What used to be a ceiling is now becoming a floor. Heaven is saying, "Step higher, for I have made room for you." This breaking of limitation is not just about personal success, it's about purpose, fulfillment. Every barrier that falls in your life becomes a doorway for someone else. When you step beyond your limits, others, watching you, find courage to step beyond theirs. Your breakthrough becomes contagious. Your victory becomes instruction. Remember how the Israelites hesitated before crossing the Jordan. They saw the waters, but God saw the path beneath. When the priests stepped forward, the river parted. The obstacle only moved when faith moved first. You are now standing at your Jordan moment. Chosen one. The waters won't part until you move. But the moment you take that step, the impossible will rearrange itself to make room for you. You've been carrying dreams that felt too big, too distant, too improbable. But heaven delights in impossible dreams because they leave no room for human glory. When the fulfillment comes, everyone will know it was God. That's why He's stretching you now, teaching you to believe again, to hope beyond logic, to step where you've never stepped before. Breaking limitations doesn't mean life will be effortless. It means you'll walk with new endurance. You will face challenges, but not with the same spirit of defeat. You will see obstacles, but your vision will pierce through them. What once felt like a wall will now feel like a test of faith, and faith will always pass. Chosen one, you are not small. You are vast, limitless, eternal in essence. God didn't design you to survive within boundaries. He designed you to expand His kingdom wherever you go. When you speak, light expands. When you move, territory increases. You carry the DNA of the limitless one, and that truth alone breaks every ceiling over your life. So lift your eyes, stretch your hands, step forward. You've outgrown the old season, and heaven refuses to let you shrink back into comfort. The walls are coming down, the gates are swinging open, and your spirit is rising to meet the magnitude of your call. The limits have served their purpose, they've taught you endurance, but now they crumble, and you emerge. Nothing can confine the one whom God Himself has called limitless, chosen one. This is the moment heaven marks with divine confirmation. You have walked through the shadows, stood through the storms, and remained faithful when faith itself felt fragile. Now, heaven answers with a sign. The invisible becomes visible. The unseen now takes form. Everything you endured in silence begins to make sense under heaven's light. You've felt it building, the sense that something monumental is near. The air around you hums with purpose. Things that once resisted you are softening, aligning, preparing. You are standing at the intersection of prophecy and fulfillment. Heaven is no longer whispering about your destiny, it's declaring it. As the prophet Daniel wrote in his book, chapter 10, verse 12, "From the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. Every prayer you've prayed, every tear that carried a hidden plea, none were ignored. The delay wasn't denial, it was divine orchestration. Heaven was arranging details your eyes couldn't see. And now, confirmation arrives. The winds of heaven are shifting in your direction. Where confusion once reigned, clarity will come. Where waiting felt endless, movement begins. Heaven is saying, yes, this is the one I have chosen. This is the moment I have ordained. And you might not see fireworks. Sometimes, divine confirmation comes quietly through peace that surpasses understanding, through doors that open without knocking, through people whose words echo your prayers. Listen closely. The signs are all around you. God confirms not just through miracles, but through moments that align perfectly with your obedience. This confirmation is also heaven's way of reminding you that your path is sacred. You didn't choose it, it chose you. You didn't stumble into purpose, you were appointed for it. Every setback was a setup. Every heartbreak, a holy lesson. God has been molding you into someone who can carry glory without arrogance, favor without forgetting. When heaven confirms, it also commissions. You're not just receiving a sign, you're receiving an assignment. The divine yes you've been waiting for is not permission to rest, it's permission to rise. Your next chapter demands boldness. The doors God opens now will require courage to walk through. But take heart, He will not open what you are unprepared to handle. This is your moment of convergence, where heaven's timeline meets your faithfulness. You will begin to notice divine acceleration, the kind that makes years of waiting suddenly worth it. Things that used to take months will now unfold in days. Relationships will align. Opportunities will appear. And what was once delayed will begin to flow. Not by luck, but by confirmation. Yet, with every confirmation comes responsibility. You must protect what God affirms. Not everyone will understand this new season. And that's okay. Don't dilute your calling to make others comfortable. Walk quietly when you need to. Speak boldly when you must. Confirmation isn't for everyone's approval, it's for your assurance. Do not fear the pace of this change. When heaven confirms, it also equips. The same grace that brought you here will carry you forward. You'll notice fresh strength rising where exhaustion used to live. Your spirit will begin to move in rhythm with divine timing. You won't need to strive, you'll simply flow. Chosen one. This confirmation is not just about destiny, it's about identity. God is showing you who you've always been beneath the layers of fear and doubt. You are His. You are marked. You are sealed. Every word He spoke over you still stands. Nothing can cancel what was confirmed in eternity. If this word resonates in your spirit, if you can feel that quiet certainty in your chest that says, "This is my moment," then it's time to seal it with a prophetic act. Go to the comments and write the number 888. That number represents new beginnings, resurrection, and the overflow of divine favor. When you write 888, you are saying, "Lord, I receive your confirmation. I step into the new you have prepared. I trust the timing of heaven over the timeline of man." It's more than a number. It's an agreement between your spirit and God's plan. The angels who watched you cry will now watch you rise. The heaven that once whispered promises now thunders confirmation. And as you walk forward, remember, this isn't random, it's divine repetition of truth. Heaven is saying, again and again, "Yes, you are mine. You are ready. You are chosen." Lo, so let peace settle over you like sunlight after the storm. You don't need another sign. You are the sign. Everything about your journey testifies that God's hand has been upon you from the beginning. And now, every step forward becomes proof that when heaven confirms, no force on earth can deny. Chosen one, the moment of revelation has come, the unveiling of your royal bloodline. The world may see you as ordinary, but heaven has always seen you as divine royalty. You were not simply created, you were commissioned. You bear the lineage of light, the signature of the King himself. What flows through your veins is not just life, it is legacy. For so long, you've walked among those who never saw your crown. You've spoken truth in places that dismissed your voice. You've carried the heart of a monarch while living among the broken. But that contrast was not cruelty, it was calibration. God was teaching you how to reign with compassion before he ever gave you a throne. He gave you empathy, so that when authority arrived, you'd use it to heal, not to dominate. As was recorded in the first letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 9, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." This is not poetic language. It is your identity. Heaven calls you royal because your life was purchased with royal blood. You've always felt different, haven't you? That quiet sense of not fitting in, of longing for something higher. That was the whisper of your royal nature, reminding you that you were never meant to belong fully to this world. The discomfort you felt in ordinary spaces was divine evidence of extraordinary DNA. Royalty doesn't rush. It moves with purpose, with posture, with peace. And that's what heaven has been teaching you. You've been learning how to carry dignity in disappointment, how to walk gracefully through chaos, how to respond with wisdom instead of reaction. Those were lessons in kingdom etiquette training for the crown. You may not see it, but the royal markings are already visible in the spirit. The way you forgive quickly, the way you intercede for others, the way your compassion disarms even the hardest hearts. These are signs of divine nobility. Earthly kings inherit power, heavenly kings inherit purpose. You were born for this kind of rule, not from thrones made of gold, but from thrones built in hearts. Every challenge you faced was part of your coronation. Pain prepared your patience. Suffering shaped your empathy. Silence trained your discernment. The crown you wear isn't placed on your head by human hands, it's forged by fire and sanctified by grace. That's why the weight you carry feels both heavy and holy. It's not just responsibility, it's inheritance. You are royalty, but not the kind that demands attention. You're the kind that brings order where chaos reigned. When you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. Peace follows you because it recognizes its ruler. You don't need to announce your identity. It announces itself in the way creation responds to your presence. Do you remember the moments you almost gave up? Those were assassination attempts on your destiny. The enemy wasn't after your job, your finances, or your relationships. He was after your awareness of identity. Because once you know who you are, you become unstoppable. The greatest threat to darkness is a child of light who finally understands their royal authority. Being part of this divine lineage means you carry not only favor, but also responsibility. You are an ambassador of heaven. Your words carry weight. Your actions echo eternity. You represent a kingdom that cannot be shaken. That's why your trials have been so intense. Heaven was ensuring your heart could handle the power that comes with revelation. This realization doesn't make you arrogant, it humbles you. Because now you understand that every blessing is an assignment, every victory, a chance to serve, every crown, a call to kneel. True royalty is recognized not by how high it sits, but by how low it bows before the King. You are not just a survivor, you are a successor. The lineage of divine authority flows through you. When you pray, heaven listens. When you decree, angels move. You have been given dominion not to control, but to cultivate, to restore what's been broken, to speak life into what's been forgotten. So, walk like royalty, not with pride, but with purpose. Lift your head, not because you seek attention, but because you recognize inheritance. Every step you take is sacred. Every breath a continuation of divine legacy. The King who reigns above all has chosen to express his kingdom through you. The world will not understand this at first. They will question your confidence, to mistake your peace for indifference, your humility for weakness. But let them wonder, in time, the fruit will speak louder than the whispers. Those who mocked your beginnings will bow in reverence to the light you now carry. Chosen one, your royal bloodline has been revealed. You are heaven's ambassador, carrying eternity in human form. Walk with reverence, speak with authority, love with compassion, and remember always, you are not just God's creation, you are his heir. Your light terrifies darkness. Chosen one, you've felt it, haven't you? The sudden tension in rooms when you walk in, the unease that settles over people who carry hidden shadows. It's not you they're reacting to, it's the light within you. Heaven's presence in you disturbs what is unclean, exposes what is false, and awakens what is asleep. You are not a passive believer, you are a walking disruption to darkness. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 8, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light." These words are not suggestion, they are identity. You don't merely carry light, you are light. The moment you accepted divine truth, darkness lost ownership of your life. That's why your journey has never been easy. Light never travels unnoticed. The moment your inner flame began to glow, opposition intensified. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your awakening made hell nervous. Darkness survives through deception, and your clarity is its destruction. Every attack you faced was confirmation of illumination. You've probably wondered why certain people suddenly distanced themselves, why some who once embraced you began to withdraw. It wasn't rejection, it was revelation. Light exposes motivus. When God increases his glow in you, he simultaneously reveals who can stand near it. Some hearts are not yet ready to face reflection. You didn't lose them. Truth simply separated what could stay from what could not. Understand this deeply. Your light is not arrogance, it's assignment. You are a torchbearer in an age of shadows. You were sent to bring warmth to the cold and clarity to the confused. But the same glow that comforts also confronts. The fire that guides the lost also unsettles the hidden. That duality is divine. It is part of your calling. When you walk into dark spaces emotionally, spiritually, or even physically, don't shrink back. The light doesn't compete with darkness. It simply exists, and darkness flees. Every act of kindness, every word of truth, every prayer whispered in faith extends that light further than you can imagine. You are changing atmospheres without even realizing it. There are unseen battles waged whenever you choose joy in pain, whenever you forgive where others would retaliate, whenever you worship instead of worry. Those moments release flashes of divine brilliance into the unseen realm. Demons retreat, not because of volume, but because of vibration, the frequency of heaven humming through your endurance. And sometimes, that light inside you burns painfully bright. You feel it when conviction grips you. When your spirit refuses to settle for half-truths or comfortable sin, that's not guilt, it's guidance. The fire in you won't let you stay small or silent. It's constantly refining, constantly expanding. You are being transformed from a flicker into a flame, from a candle into a constellation. Remember, light is most visible in darkness. That's why you were sent into difficult places, into broken families, into environments where hope seemed absent. You were not cursed to be there. You were commissioned. The greater the darkness, the greater the reason for your presence. You are heaven's answer, disguised as a person. The enemy doesn't fear those who attend light. He fears those who become it. And that's you. Every time you choose love over hate, peace over panic, faith over fear, you strike another blow against the kingdom of shadows. You've become a living testimony that light cannot be extinguished, only intensified. Do not underestimate your glow. The world needs it more than it admits. People are drawn to you without understanding why. They sense warmth in your words, safety in your spirit. You don't need to preach to shift them. Your authenticity does that for you. The light you carry speaks louder than 1,000 sermons. Still, guard your light. Protect it with prayer, with purity, with discernment. Not everyone who admires your brightness will want to preserve it. Some will try to dim it with distraction, others with doubt. But no force can truly smother what heaven has ignited. Keep your oil full. Keep your focus firm. And let your flame remain steady. And remember this truth. You were not chosen just to shine. You were chosen to illuminate. There's a difference. Shining draws attention to you. Illuminating points others to him. That's the secret of divine influence. When your light becomes a guide, not a spotlight, you fulfill your highest calling. Chosen one. The glow inside you is not temporary, it is eternal. It's older than the stars, stronger than the storms, and purer than gold. Let it burn freely. Let it heal, confront, and awaken. You are heaven's lantern in human form, and every step you take pushes back the borders of night. Your light terrifies darkness, and that is exactly what it was meant to do. Chosen one, you've felt the stirring, haven't you? That undeniable pull that tells you you're not walking this path alone. There's a movement rising, a gathering of lights across the earth. Souls like yours, awakened and unafraid, are stepping out of silence and into destiny. This is more than a message. It's a summons. You are part of the army of the chosen. For so long, you carried your faith quietly, like a hidden ember. But now, heaven is fanning those embers into a blaze. The flame inside you was never meant to remain solitary. It was meant to merge with others. One spark alone can warm a room, but a multitude of flames can light a nation. The Apostle Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 5, "So we, being many, are one body in Christ, and individually members of one another." You are not an isolated fire. You are a vital part of something far larger. Every heartbeat that believes, every voice that speaks truth, every act of faith adds fuel to this divine uprising. And if this message has found its way into your hands, it's because you are being called to stand among that radiant host, to walk as one who carries light into the corners of the earth. This isn't about fame or following. It's about family. You are joining a lineage of believers who choose compassion over chaos, hope over hate, faith over fear. Think of this moment as a campfire in the middle of a long night. Each person here carries a spark, and together we keep the flame alive. When you like this message, you're not feeding an algorithm, you're adding wood to the fire. Every click is a whisper to heaven saying, "Yes, I'm still burning." Although, when you share, you pass your torch forward. Somewhere, someone stumbling in darkness will see that light and remember that dawn exists. You might never meet them, but your act of sharing can become the bridge between despair and deliverance. If you subscribe, see it not as following a channel, but as linking arms with a tribe. Together, we form a circle of endurance. We remind each other that we're not alone in the battle, that faith still breathes in human hearts, that goodness still walks the earth in ordinary faces. And for those who feel a deeper stirring, those who sense that heaven is whispering, be a builder of this fire. Your willingness to donate becomes a sacred gesture. Think of it as oil for the lamps. Every offering poured keeps the message burning brighter, reaching further, finding hearts hidden behind walls of fear and pain. You're not giving away, you're giving forward. The warmth of your generosity travels further than your eyes can see. This isn't a demand, it's an invitation. Like a garden in bloom, every seed, small or great, adds color, fragrance, and life to the whole. Your simple act of kindness, your prayer, your presence here, it all matters. You are part of something divine in motion. When you pause to reflect on what this movement means, imagine a sea of lanterns rising into the sky, each one representing a heart awakened by truth. You are one of those lanterns. Your light joins the countless others that stretch beyond borders, beyond time zones, beyond language, creating a canopy of hope over a weary world. So yes, take a moment to breathe. Then, if this message has touched you, if it has reminded you of your worth, your purpose, your belonging, go ahead and leave a comment below. Write what's stirring in your heart. Maybe a word of gratitude, a phrase of faith, a declaration of strength. Your comment isn't just text, it's testimony. And testimonies become sparks that ignite others, because what you carry inside you is not small. It's the same fire that burned in prophets, in Puts, in pioneers of light. It's the same essence that made ordinary people do extraordinary things, and now it burns in you. Heaven's strategy is simple: awaken one, empower many, and together redeem the world from despair. You, chosen one, are the living proof that light still wins, that love still heals, that hope still resurrects what darkness thought it buried. When we move as one body, one fire, one divine rhythm, nothing can stop the light from spreading. So walk boldly, speak gently, give freely, and never forget each like, each share, each prayer, each gift, each word is another flame rising to meet the dawn. Together, we are not just the followers of light, we are its keepers. Crowned in the open, that is what heaven is doing now. Chosen one, the long season of hidden preparation has ended, and the world is about to witness what heaven always knew about you. The anointing that was once private is now public. The oil that dripped in secret is being poured out where all can see. You are not just stepping into recognition, you are stepping into revelation. When kings are crowned, it is not the crown that gives them authority, it's the journey that shaped them. Your crown didn't appear overnight. It was forged in nights of prayer, molded in moments of loss, and polished through perseverance. The weight of that crown feels heavy, not because it's new, but because it carries memory, every tear, every surrender, every yes whispered in pain. As the psalmist David wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 3, verse 3, "But you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory, and the one who lifts up my head. You have bowed low in humility. But now the same God who saw you kneel is lifting your head before nations. This is not pride, it's promise. Heaven honors what the world overlooked. Your crowning moment will not come with fanfare, it will come with peace. The recognition will not feel like a performance, it will feel like coming home. Those who doubted you will see transformation so undeniable that no words are needed. What was once mocked will now be marveled at. And yet, even in this elevation, your heart will remain grounded, because you learned in obscurity what others never learn in abundance, to depend on God alone. The crown is not merely a symbol of status, it's a mantle of stewardship. You are being trusted with influence, not for applause, but for impact. The light shining on you now is not a spotlight, it's a reflection of heaven's glory. You are not being displayed for admiration, but for demonstration, to show what surrender looks like when it's fully redeemed. Remember how Joseph stood before Pharaoh? His journey from pit to palace wasn't just promotion, it was purpose revealed. The crown on his head represented not revenge, but responsibility. He was placed high so he could lift others. That same principle rests upon you. You are not being crowned to dominate, you are being crowned to serve. There will be people who try to interpret your elevation as luck, timing, or even manipulation. Let them speak. Truth needs no defense. What God crowns, no human can counterfeit. Your authority doesn't come from men's approval. It flows from divine appointment. Keep your eyes fixed on the one who anointed you, and your crown will remain steady through every storm. This crowning is also restoration. For every year you spent unseen, you will now experience acceleration. For every door that closed unjustly, a gate will open widely. The Lord is restoring not only your dignity, but your destiny. You are entering a phase where favor will follow you without striving. You won't chase opportunity. Opportunity will recognize your name. Yet even in favor, humility must remain your companion. The higher you rise, the deeper your roots must grow in gratitude. Your strength is not found in standing above others, but in lifting others up. That's what true royalty does. It kneels to serve while wearing the crown. You may feel unworthy of this season, but understand, crowns are not placed on perfect heads. They are placed on surrendered ones. God is not rewarding performance. He is fulfilling purpose. Every wound you carry has turned into wisdom. Every scar has become a story of glory. That is why your crown fits perfectly. It was molded by the journey itself. Do not fear visibility. It will not corrupt you, because you have already been purified in the fire of anonymity. You've learned that recognition without revelation is empty. And now that revelation fills every corner of your soul. You are not shining for validation. You are shining for confirmation that God keeps His word. This crowning moment also carries prophetic symbolism for those who have watched you endure. Your life becomes a mirror through which others will glimpse divine faithfulness. You are proof that waiting is never wasted, that silence is sacred, and that the promise of God may sleep, but it never dies. And when people ask you how it happened, your answer will be simple. It was always God. The same hand that hid you now reveals you. The same voice that called you in private now announces you in public. You have been crowned not because of who you are, but because of who He is through you. So wear your crown quietly. Walk in grace boldly. And remember this truth forever. Heaven crowns not the mighty, but the faithful. And you, beloved, have been found faithful. The world will know you are His. That is the final revelation of every chosen life, that all roads, all tears, all triumphs lead to this undeniable truth. You belong to God. No other mark, no other name, no other claim can define you. Every chapter written in your story has been building to this moment of divine recognition. When heaven and earth agree that your life is a testimony of faith fulfilled, you've walked through valleys shadowed by doubt and stood on mountains kissed by grace. You've learned what it means to be both broken and beloved, to lose everything only to find that nothing truly lost in God ever remains gone. Through every season, your identity has been quietly fortified, until now, when it stands like a flame that cannot be hidden. The world will know not because you shout it, but because your peace proclaims it. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 16, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last." These words are carved into the essence of your existence. You were chosen, not for comfort, but for continuation. The fruit of your faith will outlive you. your obedience will echo through generations. There will come a time soon when those who once questioned your faith will look again and see evidence they cannot explain. They'll watch favor surround you like morning light, doors open that no man could unlock, and peace rest upon you in storms that should have destroyed you. They won't see arrogance in your eyes, they'll see serenity. Because true belonging doesn't boast, it simply breathes. The beauty of your journey is that it's never really been about proving God's existence to others. It's been about discovering His presence within yourself. The more you walked, the more you realized He was never far away. He was in the pauses between your prayers, in the quiet after your crying, in the soft strength that rose every time you said, "I'll keep going." You've discovered what saints and prophets knew, that being chosen is less about privilege and more about presence. Now, as the world begins to see the reflection of God in you, walk softly. Carry your crown with grace. Your life will speak louder than sermons. Your mercy will heal more deeply than words. The love that once held you through loneliness will now flow from you to those still waiting in their own wilderness. This is how the world will know you mirror His nature, not just His name. You were chosen to be evidence that grace still transforms. When others see your patience in adversity, your kindness amid cruelty, your joy in seasons of uncertainty, they will glimpse heaven in motion. You are the living proof that God still walks with man, that holiness still breathes through humanity. That is your ministry. Even if you never step behind a pulpit, do not fear visibility. It's not about spotlight, but reflection. The brighter your light shines, the clearer His face becomes to those lost in darkness. You are not the sun, you are the mirror that catches its glow. Every act of love, every word of truth, every step of humility refracts His radiance into the world. And as people begin to recognize this, you will find that being seen by the world no longer matters, because you are already known by heaven. When they see your peace, they will see His presence. When they hear your voice, they will feel His compassion. When they witness your strength, they will sense His sovereignty. You are no longer striving to represent Him, you are resting as a reflection of Him. This revelation also brings holy responsibility. The world will study your response more than your success. When adversity comes, your reaction will teach others how to endure. When blessing flows, your humility will reveal how to carry glory without pride. That is the mark of divine maturity, the ability to remain small even when heaven makes you great. Chosen one. This is the fulfillment of everything you've endured, to live so deeply rooted in divine love that nothing can shake you. The world will know you are His, not because of miracles performed, but because of mercy shown, not because of titles gained, but because of truth embodied. Every day forward is now sacred territory. Every conversation is an opportunity for light to pass from your eyes to another's heart. You are the living message, the proof that God still chooses, still redeems, still reigns through those who yield. Chosen one. If these words have found you, then heaven has completed its message. You've walked through every revelation, hiddenness, fire, awakening, and crown, and now you stand in the light of purpose fulfilled. This isn't an ending, it's a beginning. What you carry now is not just inspiration, it's impartation. You are part of something divine still unfolding. Before you go, pause, breathe, let gratitude rise. If these messages have spoken to your soul, if they've reminded you who you truly are. Take a simple step of faith like this message as a sign of agreement with heaven's call. Share it so the light doesn't stop with you. Someone else is waiting for a word that will reignite their hope. And if your heart feels connected to this journey, subscribe so you don't walk alone. Every new message becomes another flame to guide your path. Another whisper from heaven, reminding you that you are not forgotten. Finally, write a comment below. Speak what you felt. Declare your gratitude. Or simply say, I receive. Your words may become the spark that sets another soul ablaze. Keep shining. Chosen one, the world is waiting for your light.